Alright, Eagles training camp is right around the corner. However, you know we had to celebrate getting them Super Bowl rings. Although the Commanders seem set on Von Miller being the missing link, yet history says they're very, very wrong. In this video, we'll get into the reasons why Philly couldn't be in a better spot and go over some skeptical number changes. Plus, wide receiver Jahan Dotson joins the show, and we got several reasons to expect more from the offense this season. So let's talk about it. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Do me a favor, drop a like on this video because this was one of my favorite ones to make this offseason. Especially getting wide receiver Jahan Dotson on to talk more about the offense, plans for this season, and new wrinkles we might expect. Anyway, we'll get to that in a sec, but if you want a chance to win a signed jersey by Jihaad, then all you need to do is leave a comment in this video. Now, if you're unsure of what kind of comment to leave, Go Birds always works, or you could let me know how you're feeling about the latest Super Bowl rings. Because the Eagles Super Bowl rings are literally breed of one. I mean, check it. If you didn't see the ring ceremony, it makes sense why they were delayed due to production issues, since there's a legit button on the side that pops out Eagles wings. Yet if that wasn't cool enough, a little closer inspection on the wings reveals the inscription, "You can't be great without the greatness of others."
Someone cooked here. There's
no question, we're looking at one of the most unique rings, if not the most unique rings ever. By the way, they've also got the score of the Super Bowl along with the team phrase of tough detailed together and the scores of each playoff game. You know, to remind everyone just how dominant the squad really was. Also, I don't want to rub anything in, but let's just say 30 years makes quite the difference, especially when comparing the Dallas last championship ring to the recent one of Philly's. Like, I don't know what else to call it. That's a VHS quality ring right there that we're talking about. Sorry, reeling it in back here. Feel free to let me know your comments about the rings, or you could let me know your latest thoughts on the Washington Commanders signing veteran pass rusher Von Miller.
He's on the team? How old is he?
36. He's 36 years old, but he did have 6 sacks last season. Plus, according to Next Gen Stats, Miller actually recorded the quickest pass rush get-off in the NFL last year at 0.69 seconds, helping him generate the 5th highest pressure rate among edge defenders at 17.9%. And yeah, never a bad thing to finish right ahead of guys like Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Harold Landry, and Baron Browning. Granted, for those keeping track, those numbers for Miller were in limited snaps, so it's not like he's going to play the vast majority. The crazy part to me is that Washington was already the oldest team in the NFL, averaging 27.5 years before adding Miller. FYI, the Steelers are in second place at 26.8, so a pretty big discrepancy when you consider averages between the top 2 spots. Oh yeah, for more comparison here, the Eagles are the second youngest team, averaging just over 25 years old. Look, I'm not saying Von Miller couldn't occasionally make plays or help him, but the Commanders are turning into the Washington geriatrics. Plus, let's just say Lane Johnson had an answer back when Von Miller was in his prime. And if history's proven one thing, heck, even Howie Roseman's admitted it for one of his biggest past mistakes, it's that hanging on to veteran players or getting veteran players and not turning over the roster can backfire big time. By the way, you want a little bit more proof on that? 8 of the 10 youngest teams to start the season last year ended up making the playoffs. So not only is Washington old, but they've compounded the issue by trading away tons of draft capital to acquire players whose days are clearly numbered.
This could have been a huge mistake.
Look, I've said it before, but I do expect the Commanders to have some serious regression this season. Regardless, though, gotta thank them for being willing to help us get Cooper DeJean. Remember, had Adam Peters not accepted Howie Roseman's trade last year, the exciting Whites wouldn't have been a thing. Not to mention the Jahan Dotson trade that really turned out to be a big win for Philly. Of course, in case you forgot, the 25-year-old's going to be sporting a new number this season, taking Darius Slay's number 2 after he left for Pittsburgh. However, there's actually several different number changes with the Eagles recently, so let's get you caught up on that just in case, you didn't see it and that you're not surprised when you see different numbers running around. First, we have rookie edge Antoine Powell-Ryland, who switched from 93 to 52, thanks to Azeez Ojulari vacating that number 52 to take number 13. And you're right, if you were under the impression that Josh Uche had been 13, he was until he decided to take on the new Agent Zero pass rusher role.
Oh, God help us!
Well, hold on. I've seen all those comments. I get it. Yes, there's maybe some PTSD having seen the past Agent Zero being a pass rusher, Bryce Huff, all that, but come on, he can't be worse. Plus, Lane Johnson and some other O-linemen have already talked up Uche more than we ever heard about Huff. I don't know, serious question here. Does that number actually scare you buying into the skepticism there, or is it just another number? Also, keeping with the pass rush, Nolan Smith got in some recent work with Raiders All-Pro Max Crosby and pass rush specialist Brandon Jordan. Which is one thing to attend the pass rush summit and get some tips there, but to see Nolan at a private workout with a dude like Crosby has me even more hyped to see what kind of growth happens in year 3. Look, I know the talk nationally has been about the Birds and how they're going to replace the defense, especially the losses, and it's somewhat of a fair point. especially when you take into account that out of Josh Sweat, Oren Burke, Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Milton Williams, and Brandon Graham, they account for over 4,000 snaps played last season. But come on, this youth and potential combined with Fangio's prowess to get the most out of him doesn't have me that concerned. And also getting off on a tangent a little bit here, but thankfully we can put to rest the notion of any craziness regarding trading for TJ Watt, after the Pittsburgh Steelers made him the highest non-quarterback in the NFL. Which gets even more insane when you think about Max Crosby being 28 years old and his contract is 15% less than what TJ Watt just got. Just saying, to have the youth and potential at the price they're playing for in Philly is an absolute steal. Anyway, the area that I'm more interested in to keep an eye on is the offense with new offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. Granted, there's a lot of trust with Patullo, having seen that he's been with the squad for a while. However, you can't deny the historic nature of having the offensive coordinator turnover. For real, Nick Sirianni became the first head coach to have 4 different offensive coordinators in a 4-season span with one team since the merger. And now we can argue the effectiveness of different OCs, but it seems pretty clear that Jahan Dotson is going to have a bigger role on the offense this season. For one, because Jalen Hurts talked about building that chemistry more this offseason, and 2, we definitely saw his usage get an uptick the later into the season we went. Which kudos to Dotson because he didn't drop a single pass out of the 33 targets last year. Now sure, he didn't get that many opportunities, but he did make the most of them when he got them.
Now throwing, and it is Dotson.
Looking deep down the field for Dotson. Oh, and he juggled it and caught it. Key to Dotson again in Giants territory with the first down, trying to get out of bounds.
Looking, throw it, end zone, caught! It's picked up. Hurts going deep, has a man. He's caught!
People tend to forget that, like, I was a first-round pick, you know, that I can make plays. It's just because I'm the third receiver in this offense. I don't get a lot of opportunities, so I got to make the most of them when they come. But like, I have the ultimate confidence in myself when the ball's in the air that I'm going to come down with it.
You know what people also forget? Dotson got traded for on August 22nd last year, so he had hardly any time to get acclimated before the season started. However, the trade that Howie made wasn't just for 2024, but it was arguably even more for 2025. So, considering all that, I figured why not see how wide receiver 3 is feeling heading into his second year with the Birds. You're the first official offensive player to come on for an interview for the Philly Special Show, so I appreciate it. It's hype, but also I'm interested as well because training camp's right around the corner. How's the offseason been? How's the training been? Are you ready for camp?
Yeah, first I want to say I appreciate you having me on the show, especially being the first offensive guy. It's pretty special. So, thank you. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Training camp right around the corner, starting on Tuesday. The off season's been good though. I've been spending most of my time down in Houston, training with some of my former college teammates, Parker Washington, and Mitchell Tinsley. So it's been fun. It's been exciting, but I can't wait to get back out there.
There we go. It's here, and honestly, as fans, it does us a disservice because I've mentioned this in the past, but it's like, man, we come off of minicamp and everybody's like so rah, like let's get the season started. And then that month or month and a half break is just so difficult. I'm sure as a player, it's welcome. You get a little bit of a still focus, but try to take a little bit of rest and get back to it. But here we are, as you said, and I'm curious because it's very different from how it was last year. You got traded for August 22nd last year. We're like, oh my gosh, we got Jahan Dotson, excited. But there was so little time to lead up into the season. Now, you got the full offseason. Obviously, getting the rings, coming off the Super Bowl and everything helps too. But the full offseason to get acclimated and a full training camp, how much of a difference do you think that plays a factor?
Oh my gosh. You have no idea. This is my first training camp with the Eagles. And it's crazy to think about that being said because I spent the entire 18 weeks with the Eagles last year. So it's awesome. I'm super excited for it. OTAs went great. It was a great chance for me to build my relationship, build my trust with Jalen, as I did that during the season last year. But it was tough. It was definitely a challenge last year for sure. Being that I came in about 6 days before we were heading to Brazil, but it was something that I definitely I wouldn't change it. It was a special journey that I got to embark on. And like everything happens for a reason. We were just talking about this the other day. I was actually talking to Kenny Pickett. I was down in Ocean Township throwing with him yesterday, and we were talking about this. Like, I wouldn't take any of it. I wouldn't change any of it. Honestly, because everything happens for a reason. I came out of this a Super Bowl champ, and it is awesome. But it is really cool to be able to spend an entire off season with the team that I'm going to be with, and getting to build the trust with the teammates and the quarterback. So I'm excited.
Heck yeah, we're looking forward to it. It actually just occurred to me. I didn't think about this. You got traded. I assume, thankfully, your passport was in good order. Like, if you don't have that, you get traded to go to Brazil. You're like, oh, sorry, man, I'm not going to make the Brazil game. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, literally, like as soon as I got traded, within like an hour, Eagle staff were texting me, Do you have your passport? Do you have your
No
passport?"
way.
Yeah, it was that fast. It was that fast.
That makes sense, though. The other part too that I absolutely loved, and I like poking a little bit of fun. I like riling people up sometimes too. So maybe I get a kick out of it a little bit more than others. But your viral tweet that went off as soon as you got traded is, "Whose Madden Ultimate Team is this?" And it's like, all right, people that play Madden totally understand that. But come on, you get Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, the O line, everybody there. Not to mention the defense and everything else. But I mean, getting to play with those types of players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. What I mean, you've got 18 weeks, got the Super Bowl, everything else, but just kind of taking it more into context now. What has that been like, and how is that playing with just the Madden Ultimate Team, kind of as your tweet was?
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. And you get to learn a lot from a lot of different great minds. Lane being one of the best of the best for the past 12, 13 years. Smitty, uh, he was he's probably had the craziest football journey of any football player ever. Being that he's a Heisman winner, national championship, Super Bowl champ. Saquon, he does what he does. So it is pretty cool playing around a bunch of stars. So you definitely get to learn a lot being with them every single day, and just taking it all in.
There we go. People forget I was a first round pick. I can make plays too. Those were your comments after, paraphrasing a little bit, but basically your comments after the Jacksonville game. And I think everybody remembers, I played the clip here on this video so people, a little bit of a refresher, but the crazy wild circus catch that you had against Jacksonville. And I love that comment after the fact, because you're right. Sometimes in this Madden Ultimate Team universe, people go, oh yeah, the number of comments, because I made a short about it, and I posted the number of comments that people go, I forgot Jahan Dotson was a first-round pick. And so it's just interesting that they say it that way. And it made me think about Jalen Hurts, too, who it was very vocal, saying, like, hey, he lets the criticism fuel him. It doesn't consume him, but he lets it fuel him, kind of push him a little bit further to try to, maybe prove people wrong or just be in that right mindset. Would you characterize yourself in a similar type of sense, or how do you view that?
Yeah, I mean, the quote kind of is self-explanatory. I truly just go out there every day, and I put the work in. And it's paid off for me. Being that I was fortunate enough to be a first round pick in this league. And it's crazy that like it wasn't too long ago. And people do sometimes forget about that, but like I just go out there and I try to play to the best of my ability. And I can make plays when my number's called on. And that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Making the big plays. I mean, the ones that come to mind, obviously Jacksonville that I mentioned, but the one in the wild card game against Green Bay, the touchdown there to start it off. It's like, all right, here we go, baby. Let's get this thing. The Super Bowl, which I thought you'd scored. I mean, the reaction from everybody knows, like, whenever you'd scored and you were down right there. Needless to say, a lot of tush pushes have happened from players going down a little bit earlier before, but still got the score, and it was exciting. Just as far as, like this group and playing with Jalen Hurts, because you mentioned that also, and you've played with a couple different quarterbacks. I remember watching you at Washington, and it was like, dude, this guy he torches like almost every time that you played the Eagles. It was like I don't know if it was something just, having played at Penn State or what, but every time you play the Eagles, you have your best performance against Philly. It got tiring, so I was glad to see you come over to Philly. But now playing with Jalen Hurts, what's that like, him being quarterback? I know it's a different dynamic for Jalen, but what is it like having Jalen Hurts as your quarterback?
Yeah, it's awesome. And like I said, being that I had this off season to be able to be with the team. I kind of built that trust with him. And it's been really cool. It's been a really cool opportunity. But I feel like every time I talk about Jalen, the one thing that comes to mind, like a leader, like he's truly the ultimate leader. Um, everything you guys see in the press conferences and the kind of team speech kind of things. He's like that all the time. It's honestly pretty cool. I always tell people like he literally talks in quotes. Like everything he says it can be put on a Nike shirt.
That's what
So
people say. Is like he's dropping bars all the time. Like,
no,
man, this
literally
dude
all
all
the
day, every
time,
day.
all the time. But yeah, he tremendous talent. Great leader. He's a really cool dude, and he's really fun to be around.
That's awesome. Well, it's good because again, we get like little glimpses. So to just reiterate, hear that from players of like, okay, that is what Jalen Hurts is. He's truly breed of one. I mean, I get a kick out of all the time seeing these players. Like, we went to the NovaCare Complex. Jordan Davis is wearing the breed of one hoodie, and I'm like, let's go, like represent obviously. So unplanned, but Jalen Hurts. So it is what it is. But speaking of other guys as well, I mean, you trained with AJ Brown, I believe, at Florida before even coming to the Eagles. Having a relationship with those guys, which is important beforehand. But I think we see this and hear it about press conferences and the unscripted, mic'd up videos and all the other stuff. But that iron sharpens iron. Nick Sirianni's you can't be great without the greatness of others. How much has that played a factor too? Being in the room with guys like AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, working out, kind of pushing each other.
Yeah, a bunch. And it goes back to just every day of practice. You see Smitty or AJ just making plays all day, and it kind of fuels you to want to go make plays yourself. And I feel like being around those two, it's kind of helped me get back to that comfortable state and playing again, where you're playing really carefree, and you're going out there and just balling, because that's truly what it's all about. And that's what it's felt like the past year, and I feel like this has been the best football I've played just because of like Coach Sirianni says, the others that you're around. They truly bring out the best in you, and it's really been fun, honestly, playing alongside of those two. It almost feels like college again, because our room is so close. We talk every single day. We're in a group message. We talk all the time, and then when we're on the field, we're always teaching each other, giving each other little tips, and we bring out the best in each other. So it's really cool playing alongside those guys.
Man, it feels that way. I love hearing you say that, but it feels that way of just the different camaraderie, the different type of chemistry this squad has. So, I mean, just winning the best team at the ESPYs was kind of cool. I know some people that's a big thing, some people it's not, but still, just to me, I'm like, hey, I'll take an accolade. That's extra. Super Bowl rings are more important, but sure, I'll take an accolade there. I'm curious with the changed jersey number. Most people are aware. Some people maybe not. You took number 2, Slay departing to Pittsburgh. We wish him well. But number 2 opened up and seemed to grab that jersey there. Any particular reason why for number 2?
Well, honestly, I was trying to get out of the 83 all season last year. But I got to the team pretty late, so there weren't really many numbers left. And then, Slay went to Pittsburgh, and I had literally talked to him like a couple days before I got the number. I saw we were at AJ's little what do we call it?
Was it his like engagement party deal? Or
His
was it
engagement party.
Yeah,
His
yeah, yeah.
engagement party. Yeah, we were there together, and I was talking to him. I was like, "What do you think about the two?" Kind of trying to get like the OG to give me like hand it down to me. And he was like, "I wouldn't rather have anyone but you wear it." So, I felt like that was going to be a special moment, and I got the two. It was honestly just an upgrade from 83. Anything was at that point. But yeah.
It is tough, yeah. Like you say, you join the team late, you get slim pickets for the jersey. So I think number 2 looks really good. Another co-host that does some podcasts with me, Anthony DeBona, he gave it the thumbs up of approval. He's even more so on like jersey numbers playing a big factor. So for what it's worth, people understand how big of a deal. But speaking of the jersey, and for subscribers and viewers of the channel, make sure to like and comment on this video because I'm going to be giving away a signed Jahan Dotson number 2, and that's kind of rare because because, we change jerseys here. So if people want to get ahead of that, just like and comment. Appreciate you. You're the man for doing that one there. And I again, like I say, I think number 2, it goes well. Wide receiver, the numbers have changed, obviously. You were wearing 1 back at Washington, but number 2, maybe, trying to go for a repeat. I don't know. I'm just making something up here, but number 2, try to go for a repeat of the Super Bowl. So I don't mind that. Let's run it back. So as far as the other offensive part, though, I know questions come up for, I don't know if you get asked this quite a bit. I know that the fans very curious because of the changes, but Kevin Patullo, offensive coordinator, he's been in Philly for a while, but the feel or the general consensus, I think, is like cautious optimism because of past experiences, like, change an offensive coordinator, like what's it going to be? How's this going to, will it impact the offense in a negative way? Things like that. We've heard some positive things in press conferences, but anything else that you can speak for of just being around Kevin Patullo, seeing the offense? I know it's early semblances. We haven't gotten to training camp, but just positive aspects for Patullo.
Oh, he's gonna do great. I have no doubt in my mind. Last year, Kellen was the OC, but KP really had a big voice in everything that we did. Those two were they were kind of like OC and co-OC. I truly have no doubt in my mind that we're gonna hit the ground running, especially with the players that we have. Like, it's honestly sometimes I feel like I can be the OC, just because we have such great players. But KP's gonna do a great job. I truly believe that he did a great job in OTAs, just diving into the offense and helping us get the ins and outs early. So yeah, I'm ready for it. I think he's gonna be great.
Like you say, you got an offense like this. I mean, not to take anything away from what Kellen did,
Right.
moving on. But yes, like 10 of 11 offensive starters returning. The only one be the right guard. We're hyped for Tyler Steen. Believe it. I mean, Jeff Stoutland can do a lot of things with offensive linemen and just in general be positive there. So, but Tyler Steen being the man, yeah.
He's a mastermind. Jeff Stoutland, he's one of the best coaches I've ever seen, like at any level. And it's cool just to watch him. Like, I obviously not lineman. I'm not in his room or anything, but just to see him at practice, see him pre-practice, how he goes about things, how he coaches the O-line, how he just demands excellence from them. And he's gonna coach them hard no matter who it is. He's truly the best position coach I've ever been around.
Dude, that's awesome to hear you say that because shout out to Aaron Moorhead, wide receivers coach. We give him his praise, obviously.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
But another position to give credit. I mean, that really says it all. So that's awesome. I like that. Now specifically for you though, because we're getting into training camp here. And I remember we had Isaiah Rodgers on about a year ago. And we're like, hey, any specific goals or whatnot? Do you have? And his deal was just make a play a day, I think it was like make a play a day and a pick a week or something. That was his goal. Now, even if you don't hit it, it's at least good to have goals. It's something to try to reach and get attainable. But any specific goals that you have in mind for camp or even for this season going forward? Kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. A play a day. Hopefully make 2 plays a day. Wearing the 2 on my back now.
There we go.
But yeah, this year I just really want to hone in on the details. Really being the best receiver I know I can be. Last year, like I said, I really felt really comfortable playing in the offense, and as the year went on, really felt comfortable playing in the offense. And I feel like this year's, it's time to go. So I really want to be that outlet that we have. I know, it's only one ball to go around. We have a lot of guys to get the ball, but whenever I get my chances, I want to make it happen for us. And I really want to look at myself as kind of that deep threat that people don't really see in the offense. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun during training camp, and I can't wait.
We're all looking forward to it. And again, I appreciate you hopping on. As busy as it is, locking in, getting ready for training camp, it means a ton. First offensive interview as well, like we mentioned. And you like give you credit as last year, 33 targets. So I know you like say hard to spread the ball around, but 0 drops. You made the most of the opportunities when you got them. Number 2 now, so the sky's the limit. We've changed the jersey. We're going back. Let's run it back. But seriously, Jihaad, I appreciate you making time. Best of luck to you. We're going to be rooting for you in training camp, and honestly, can't wait for Thursday, September 4th, I believe is the date, the Thursday night against Dallas. It's going to be dope. So I appreciate you hopping on again.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. It was really fun. Really great talking to you, chopping it up. Can't wait for the season.
Just got to say thank you again to Jahan Dotson for hopping on again, especially this late, this close to training camp. Meant a ton for him to hop on there. Again, if you want to get a chance, though, at winning that jersey, the signed Jahan Dotson number 2 jersey, all you got to do, drop a like on this video, comment, subscribe. More content coming soon. Training camp right around the corner. Until next time, this has been the Philly Special.